Have you ever felt stuck in your life and not sure how you can get out of that? It's not that easy always. But I want to say that I want to welcome you to today's video. We are here today. I'm Debbie Sadify, and I'm here with Deborah Blosnich. Hey, Deborah.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm thrilled to be here with you because today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to dive into a really special conversation on our Elite Mentorship Forum, which you'll often hear us calling EMF. And I have the pleasure of actually talking to Deborah as an EMF graduate to talk about her transformational journey and she's here to share her experiences with us today. So you are in for a treat. And don't forget, EMF is all about unlocking your potential, changing and challenging your limiting beliefs, those old beliefs that you've had stuck to you forever, and creating lasting change in your life. And so, if you're curious about personal growth or looking for inspiration, I know that Deb's story is going to be very insightful. So, Deb, thanks for being here to share, open up, and share your EMF experience. And I want to ask you, what inspired you to join the Elite Mentorship Forum in the first place?
Well, Debbie, first of all, I love the idea of us sharing a little bit more about our stories because people do hear us talk a lot about EMF, the Elite Mentorship Forum, and we talk about it in snippets of things we've learned. Um, but taking the opportunity to really do a deep dive on what it has changed for me personally is exciting because part of my reason for doing EMF was to impact more people. Um, Specifically, I wanted to make a change for myself and then for my family. So, what inspired me though to ultimately make the decision to do EMF was I had a lot going on in my life. And my whole story is that my life started with a very traumatic childhood, one that I thought I had dealt with, handled, and I was doing fine, right? I really did. And then um, as I got to this point in my life where I realized that the people that I trusted most of my life, um, I probably should not have let in my life because um, it was my family. And because they were family, I was like, well, that's what family does. Family sticks together. And what I learned was that even though you love your family, sometimes you just have to walk away because it is the right decision. Okay, so I found myself making that decision and just searching for like, okay, I've always known what to do next, where to go next, what's my next step, how am I going to get through this, right? Whatever it was. And I found myself kind of at a crossroads where I was like, I don't know what to do right now because I've followed, excuse me, I've followed all the rules, right? I went to school, I went to college, I got married, I had children. I was loving and forgiving. I was a hard worker. I was dedicated employee. I was a dedicated mom. Um, and I didn't understand, like, why was life being so unfair? And how come I never got to experience more, right? And then this EMF program popped up, and I was like, wait a second, what is this? Now, I had done a lot of soul searching and programs before, and they created some change, right? They created some mind shifts for me, where I realized that, like, hey, it's up to me to make these changes. I have to do the work. I have to be the person that does the things to get what I want. All right. So again, I was a hard worker. But what inspired me to join Peter was just all of that. And it was I felt like actually life was imploding on me because, like I said, I did all the things I was supposed to do and I wasn't getting what I expected from life. I was like, this isn't matching up with what I was told my whole life or what I believed. Because I believed if I loved everyone enough, if I worked hard enough, I would just have a blissfully happy life. Not that it would be problem free, but that I would feel and experience a lot of joy and satisfaction every day. And that wasn't happening. So when I found the EMF program, I thought, okay, this is something I need to do because it's talking about life transformation. It wasn't about losing 10 pounds and then your life will be fabulous. It wasn't about making $10,000 a month and then feel good. It wasn't about go, act like this and attract the man of your dreams. It wasn't any of that. And I didn't need any of that. But this was about transforming your life and the way you look at life and the way you experience life. And I was like, that is what I need. I need some direction on how to transform my thinking so I can experience the life that I really want to.
And I know you mentioned that you had seen other transformation programs, other personal growth programs. How did Peter Sage's message resonate with you differently than those other programs that you encountered and that you experienced?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because I had, like I said, I had done a lot of different self help and things. And what sets Peter apart? What made me really say this is what I need to do? And I really dove full in. And I think it goes back to again, it was about the transformation, and it was about um, it's kind of a package, and it's so much to answer. Ultimately, Peter's invitation that I responded to was to become part of a community of like-minded people who are seeking to not just improve their own life. And again, not in these superficial lose 10 pounds, make 10,000 a month, attract the man of your dreams, like, or the woman of your dreams, right? It was such a deeper message of becoming. That was what I heard and what I felt and what absolutely happened. It was about becoming somebody. Like he would help us transform over 6 months. Remember, this is like a really long thing. So it was becoming part of the community to transform every area or any area of your life that you wanted, um, not to gain status or simply hit like the next level financial plateau or whatever that you're reaching for, but to actually recognize the personal power that we each have in our lives and over our lives, and that you could find that power and then also experience more fulfillment in your life. And um, that's really what I wanted. I wanted to become this more fulfilled person, knowing that I was already full of love. I already loved the people in my life. I already loved kind of what I was doing, but I had to figure out how to be differently in this world so that I could experience what I really wanted to and stop experiencing and running these cycles in my life that just kept me feeling defeated and stuck.
And so what emotions were you feeling before you embarked on this EMF journey? You could take us into that emotional side.
Yeah. So, like I said, when I found Peter Sage and EMF, Um, I would have to say I was hitting, um, I don't know if rock bottom is quite the word for it, but emotionally, I had hit rock bottom. Um, Sorry, it's hard to think about how I felt back then and
Mm.
what really made me say yes. But hitting rock bottom emotionally, where I just thought, how do I pick myself up one more time? How do I take another step? Because I truly was getting hit with some things in life that, um, even though I know I made life choices that sometimes made my life a little bit more difficult. But what had really happened in my life was completely out of my control because it came from childhood trauma. So before I had a choice, right, on what was going to be in my life and what I was going to do, some things were decided for me. Some heavy, heavy things were put in my life. And I'm not, and again, I thought I had forgiven and moved on and done everything I needed to do. But what happened was it all came back. I was the situation represented itself, not of my choosing. And so um, it was basically my childhood trauma came back to haunt me in the most horrific way, where somebody else that I love dearly became a victim of the same abuse from my childhood. And it changed the whole dynamic of my life. So the emotions that I was feeling when I found Peter was um, just real deep, dark sadness. And I am the most optimistic person most people have ever met. And I was not feeling optimistic. And um, that's where I started it. So frustrated, tired of these cycles of disappointment and more frustration and disappointment and more frustration. And I decided I don't want to live in these cycles anymore. I want to figure out how to once and for all choose differently, live differently, and just be me, because I think I'm pretty cool, um, but with a better sense of direction and purpose in my life.
Sending you love, Deb. Sending you lots of love.
Thanks. It has been a journey. It is, and that's I know, like, it's hard when I think back on it. Thank you so much, because when I do think back on where I was then, yeah, I guess I still get a little sad about the person that was struggling, but I'm super glad that I made the choice to get out of there. So.
Yeah, and was there a specific moment where you felt that EMF was having this profound impact on your life? Did you really find it was a specific thing that happened? And maybe
Wow, this is
describe how you feel.
again, oh my gosh. There's actually so many moments, right? But I feel like um, if I think about when did I know that this was having an impact on my life? Um, okay, basically, it came down to as I was going through EMF and as I actually had finished it, right? Um, I had made some really big change decisions in my life of what I would allow in my life and what I would not. And so I was setting really healthy boundaries. So that was new for me. Family or not, I had to set healthy boundaries um, on my relationship. So what was allowed, what was not. And I knew that um, I had changed dramatically in that I was experiencing what I wanted to when um, I had to allow people to walk out of my life, and then I had to be okay with that. And um, it was a very touching and deep loss for me when I had to let go of those relationships. And I knew that EMF had provided exactly what I wanted when I was able to let go, not with no sadness. There was definite sadness, um, but without letting it, like it didn't drag me down. I didn't sink into an ongoing sadness or depression. I was truly able to let go with only love in my heart. And I don't know if anybody listening out there has ever had to make a decision that they would let somebody um, really close to them go, not not in death, but to just really let them go, let them out of your life. And it's a really painful process because you have so much of your life and your identity wrapped up in these people and your relationship with them. But for me, that was it. It was realizing that this relationship that I had and I thought was and was, it truly was a fundamental relationship in my life, and I had to let them go with peace and love. And I was able to do that. I still wish that person everything the best in the world. And I'm just like, okay, well, that was hard, right? Because loss is hard, but I was able to do it with peace and love. And that is when I knew. And I'm able to do that more and more in my life is let go of things that don't serve me. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful gift that not many of us get to experience.
That is very beautiful. And it really kind of plays into the question that I have for you, which is how has your life changed since you've completed the EMF? And I know this is an ongoing, this is one thing, it's never over. It's an ongoing journey that never ends. But how are your relationships, your career, your personal growth? What's different now after completing EMF?
Oh my gosh, again, such a profound question. Um, um, my life has changed dramatically, and I think that I would have to say that for me, the personal growth part was the most significant because I have learned to experience love in a much, much deeper way. And a huge part of that was this self love that I learned. And I know it's hard to, like, who has to learn to love themselves, right? But I realized that that's a real conversation and that I learned to love myself and love others and express what I'm feeling more deeply. And um, that's just brings so much more joy to my life because the relationships that I do have are very meaningful. And the second way that I would say that my life has changed dramatically since completing this is that I'd like to say, and this goes kind of along with the love aspect, is that I don't live a fear driven life anymore. And although my childhood was traumatic and I had some things happen in my life where I have experienced real, actual fear, like physical harm kind of fear and mental harm fear, that's not even what I'm talking about, though. The fear that I'm talking about that changed for me was more of the fear that we have of actually even just being seen And so living in shadows and being afraid of expecting more. And so now I don't live a fear-driven life. I live a love-driven life. And I know that might sound a little silly or quirky or whatever, but the truth is that like everything in my life, I wish I had like a couple hours to answer that because it's just so right. To me, it truly is the um basis of my transformation, going from living in fear to living from love, and no more living in shadows, no more living with doubt, and no more living a less than kind of life. That's
So maybe that also leads into like, yeah, what unexpected insights that you had or breakthroughs did you experience during the program? What's that aha moment that really gave you, and I think it's different for everybody. It's, a different lesson, whatever you need to nourish. So what was that breakthrough for you? What
wow.
really hit home? Can you think of
Oh
one
my
thing?
gosh.
Ha ha
Oh my
ha.
gosh. Debbie, this was a 6-month journey, not a 6-week journey that we went on. We went on 6 months of growing and growing and growing and
And
learning and being,
more and more.
so I have probably at least 100 aha moments.
Okay, you gotta talk top
I
top
gotta
one,
narrow it
top
down.
one, the top
Top
one.
one. Okay, my top one. I guess it almost starts at the beginning, but I think, and it blew my mind the most, and I really thought, what have I just signed up for? Um, but seriously, I was like, whoa, what did I just do? When I very first started. But the realization that my life is created by me, my life experience. I should maybe be a little bit more specific there, but that it is created by me. My life is what I create. Um, and through the whole process, though, I mean, there were so many things that had to happen, and do have to happen in order for us to truly appreciate the power that we have over our experience and for those around us. Um, but ultimately, yeah, recognizing that the life I have is the life I create. I think that's the most profound and magical thing that I got out of this whole journey.
Yeah, and it happens right at the beginning.
Yes,
Hits you right there. So how do you feel that this EMF, has set you up for long-term success and continue, this transformation and continue on the same journey? Because one thing that happens a lot is people go through a program and they do it, and then they go back to their life. But how do you feel EMF has set you up for long-term success?
I love that question. And this was also a big, big part of this. One, going through EMF, as I said in the beginning, one of the biggest draws for me was that it was an invitation to be a part of a community. So it wasn't just, hey, do this program, change your life, be a new person. It was join my community, Peter's community of people who want to be more, do more, create more positive impact in the world. And I was like, that's me. I want to create a positive difference in the world. Um, but I also realized as I was signing up that like I have some things to work on with myself because I know that I'm not in um, the greatest place because I'm not feeling fulfilled and I want to feel more fulfilled. So I would say that um, finding that community and being part of that helps us. So once the program ends, right? You're like, oh, I'm done. My 6 months. I'm out of here. I'm a new person, right? It doesn't happen like that. I'm now connected to people who I catch up with on a regular basis from all over the world. And I get to have really meaningful conversations. and I get to discuss like, hey, what are my next plans and what am I doing? And oh, wow, what are you doing? Like, what are you embarking on? So ultimately, you get to join, and I'm a part of this fabulous community of people. Um, and what do we say? Like, everybody always says too, like, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that is what EMF is. It's a continual journey. So I might reach another level of being, but I hope that I learn to be a lifelong contributor to the success and lives of others. And I also get to be on the receiving end of that, where I get to continually be a part of an amazing group of people who want the same thing, not just for themselves, but for their families and their communities, and ultimately the world at large.
Yeah, imagine having a group of friends throughout the world that you can connect with.
It's
It is
beautiful.
truly amazing. And
It
if
is.
if you were speaking to someone who is considering to join EMF, what would you tell them about your experience and why they should take that leap?
Mm, that's great. What would I tell them? I think one of the things that I've learned through this experience is um, one, the experience that I've had, it is not unique to me. This message would resonate with many, many people who have gone through EMF. And so instead of simply giving you a reason to say, oh, I definitely have to do that, I would instead ask you to ask yourself some very real and deep questions. And those questions would be more like, are you fulfilled in the life that you're living now? And if you are, like, super fantastic, because I know some people truly are. I know they are, and it's amazing and it's beautiful to see. But if you're not, and I mean in all areas of your life, so like, um, I feel like there is always a little bit of room for improvement. But if you're not feeling fulfilled, the next question is, do you know how to get what you want out of life? Like, do you know what to do and you're just not doing it and you need a little inspiration? Or do you truly not know what to do? And I guess with that being said, asking yourself those real questions to say, is that enough? Are you satisfied with that? Or would it be worth your time? Would it be worth your time to just take a look and see, like, hey, maybe I could use a little help in finding the fulfillment in whichever area of your life that it is that you're not feeling fulfilled? Would it be worth at least asking someone for a little help? Because in my opinion, if the answer is you're not fulfilled in every area of your life and you're not sure what to do, or even if you do just need a little motivation, aren't you worth it? Like, that's it. Like, why would you live a less than life if you didn't have to? So that's what I would do. I would ask some questions.
You know what? I love that. I love that question. Am I worth it? And I hope that everybody, because you mentioned self-love and said, it sounds crazy to have to learn to love yourself. But I feel like there's a lot of people, including myself, that here's a limiting belief that loving yourself is selfish. And it's not selfish. You need to love yourself first, but it's a very difficult thing to do when you've been brought up thinking that it's selfish and you shouldn't be putting yourself first and loving yourself. And so asking yourself that question, am I worth it? I hope that the answer is yes, I am worth it. And when you come to that point where you realize you are worth it, you're in the right place. Wow, I really want to thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey, for being vulnerable, for really opening up on your story. It's truly inspiring for me. And I also hope that it resonates, and I know it'll resonate with so many people who are feeling stuck in their own lives. And it's amazing to hear how EMF has helped you to transform your mindset, your relationships, your overall approach to life. And I hope that this conversation has sparked something for anyone and everyone who is watching tonight. And if you are curious about the EMF and you like what you've seen today, share this video, pass it on to someone who can use that. And if you want a conversation with Deb, uh, just just ask. I'd love to hear your comments. Deb, thank
Absolutely.
you so much for opening
Thank
up
you for
and
letting
really
me share.
sharing your story tonight.
Thank you, Debbie. My pleasure.